Hi, this is Antoine Pellet again from 3C Consultants. Welcome to our next session of Essential Guides, this time on Microsoft 365, how to collaborate more effectively. We'll be joined again by our in-house Microsoft 365 expert, Andrew Buckles, who will take you through a demo and show you how to indeed collaborate more effectively using Microsoft 365. I'll take you through a little presentation. Also, there is, of course, the Q&A at the bottom and should pop up on the side once again. So if you have any questions or any comments, please don't hesitate to make them there. So on to a little presentation. What does Microsoft 365 include? Well, Microsoft 365 includes a wealth of applications with different functions to enable your business to work in the modern world. Microsoft's strategy is focused on them being a single source for your business productivity needs, all securely linked and stored within the cloud, so that software can scale with your business needs and be accessed from anywhere at any time, so addressing business continuity and disaster recovery challenges. The applications include Office applications such as Word, Excel, business email, file storage in SharePoint, video conferencing in Teams, calendar management, and other management and collaboration tools such as Planner. So on to the discussion and the demo. If there's any particular area, as we said, that you would like covered in the future webinars, please don't hesitate to post your request on the Q&A tab during the presentation. We will now cover a short demo on how we can use Microsoft 365 to collaborate effectively. So on to you, please, Andrew. Thanks.
Cheers, thanks, Anton. Really good introduction. Welcome, everyone. So today we're just going to be covering off a few basics on sort of how we can get more out of Teams and collaborating together and a few other features. I know we covered a few last time, but there's a few more that we wanted to cover. And then in a future session, we're going to be looking at some of the other applications in a bit more detail, like SharePoint and Microsoft Forms and things like that. So the first thing that I wanted to show you guys was some of the features for when you're actually on a call. So I'm just going to share my screen now. So here you can see this is sort of the typical call screen. You've got your camera button here if you wanted to turn your video off for instance. I mean, we've all seen the amusing videos on the internet of some of these news reporters with little kids running in the background. You know, perhaps if you feel like you're just about to be interrupted, you can always turn your camera off. Muting. Now, again, this is a useful and something that, you know, it's worth getting into a good habit, if you like, of muting your microphone, particularly if you're on a call with you know, numerous people, probably, you know, 4, 5, 6 or more people. Just reduces some of the feedback that you get on the camera, and actually, you know, you just unmute when you want to speak. Another really good feature, which I'll demonstrate shortly, is the hands up feature. So again, if you are muted and you wanted to say something, it can become quite difficult sometimes when, you know, there's 3 or 4 people looking to try and talk over one another. So you've got the hands up feature here, and Anton will demonstrate that shortly when we dial him in. Obviously, you know, in this particular case, and it's not normally like this, but my background's relatively sort of tidy. But, you know, should you know, perhaps not be working in an office and you having to work in your bedroom or your living room, then if you go to more actions here, there is a feature now with show background effects. Now, you can have standard background, which is what I'm on now. You can blur your background, and then if you know, uploaded a few sort of various different office environments. So perhaps if I was to switch this one, I wish my flat looked this nice, a nice contemporary office space here to use. So we'll stick with that one. Some of the other features, obviously, if you ever want to record it, so perhaps, you know, if we're on a call and somebody can't attend, you can record it and then they can watch it all back, which is a really useful option, because obviously, you know, things do crop up now and again and people can't make meetings, and rather than rearrange, especially if it's a meeting with quite a few people, then we can record it, and that one person that's missed it can catch back up. Again, if you are having a meeting via video call, you've got the show meeting notes button here. So if I open that, and again, we can take notes, and this just loads up. So this could be, if you're having quite a formal meeting, this could be kind of like your minutes. So we can set up here, and then you can add new sections. And we might say, right, there's some action points, and we can just add the various different sections in and start to type from here, really. Etc. And then this can all be stored. Well, it's all automatically stored after the call. So again, anyone that's attended the call, they'll have full visibility of that. Just to give you a quick idea of where that would be is if you actually go back into your chat, you can see the most recent meeting that you're in. So this is the one that we're actually in right now. And you can see where it's created that tab for meeting notes. So afterwards, people can go back in. And you can also see the recording here, which, a few minutes after you've ended the call, then that recording will store and save. And again, you can share that video easily. So back to the call screen. Again, perhaps if for some reason, there's a lot of background noise and perhaps people find it difficult to talk using a microphone, you can also ask any questions. And other people could respond on here, so you could have like a bit of a chat going on, and whilst other people are talking, etc., etc. But be aware that obviously anyone that's on the call, this is obviously visible. So to dial people in halfway through a call, is you just click on the participants here. Obviously, I'm a bit of a loner this morning, but we're going to invite Antoine in now. And so as soon as I type his name and click on it, it begins to dial him in. So hopefully Antoine will join us now in a second. Morning, Antoine. Nice of you to join us again.
Hi, Andrew. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. So just running through a few of the features on calls. We've gone through call recording, sharing the screen, all that sort of stuff. So we just wanted to move on now to collaborating on a document together. Just wanted to show people, how easy that is and how we can co-author documents together. So what I will do is I'll just go into this team. I've set up this test channel for today, and I've dropped a little document in here. So if I was to, I've just dropped this document in, guys, and I want Antoine to add his input into it. So if I go into the conversation tab on here, and I might say to Antoine, right, please can you complete the conclusion. So Antoine will get a notification, and so once you've got that, Antoine, if you could then open up the document and start writing a little sentence in the conclusion, or I can just demonstrate to people, how people can co-author documents at the same time, which is a really great feature. And something that is going to save a lot of time. I know documents, and currently people are flying back and forth over email. This gives you that great ability. See there, guys, you can see on the screen, and even I could start writing while Antoine's doing the same thing. So I mean, how amazing is that? We can work on documents together, as long as we're obviously not working on exactly the same sentence. I can work on an introduction, Antoine can work on a conclusion, and that is really quite an amazing thing. And so, for instance, if I've finished my bit there, I think, right, I'm going to close that, And just to prove to you, you know, how live and real time that is, if I was to open that document back up, you know, you can see both my changes have been saved and Antoine's have been saved. Amazing. And obviously you can see as well, you may even have more than 2 people in a document, and so you'll start to see every person that's within the document at the time is here, and you can see sort of where they are on the page. So there you can see Antoine's there. Amazing stuff, really, I think. So if we come out of there, and then a couple of other things. So in terms of collaborating. Okay, so next thing, guys, obviously, you know, we all have the organized kind of meetings and stuff that we've all got in our diaries, etc. And you can go to calendar and create those new meetings and join calls that are already in your calendar. But, you know, if you wanted to quickly sort of get in touch with one of your colleagues, if you actually click on the calls button here, you can see some of your most recent contacts and stuff like that. And for instance, if I wanted to ring Colin, I could literally just, it's a one-click button and that'll dial him straight through. Obviously, similar to Outlook and stuff, you do get these indicators that sort of suggest, you know, if people are available, whether they're busy and currently in a meeting, etc. So again, you kind of get that likelihood of how likely they are to reply, perhaps before you're about to give them a call. One of the great things as well that's been built into Microsoft Teams, which again sort of does filter into collaborating, is if you're going to set up a meeting, we add our date. So let's say we're going to go for next Monday, perhaps at 10 a.m. till 10:30, and I'll start to add my attendees in. And so we can sort of see here that, okay, yeah, at the moment it looks like 10 a.m. is a suitable time. It has what's called the scheduling assistant. But let's say if I move this to 5 o'clock, you can see here that the users have all turned red, which means that, you know, the system's picking up in their Outlook calendar that there's already something and that it's going to clash. So it does suggest alternative time. So again, if I can see here, the scheduling assistant is suggesting we actually go for 1:30. And again, you can see all the users are now green, and we can send that invite out then. So again, in terms of collaborating, it makes it kind of easier. I've seen so many organizations when they're trying to arrange meetings, you know, people are, oh, well, this time's okay for me in my calendar, and you know, there's lots of back and forth just trying to actually arrange a meeting. It's the old saying of, let's have a meeting to organize having a meeting. Well, actually, this kind of takes that away for you. You know, anyone in your organization, their calendar is available within the system. The system knows when they're free. So that's a really useful tool, and kind of, again, a good little time saver as well. Okay, guys, that's pretty much it for today. So we'll just jump back on with Antoine. I know I mentioned earlier I wanted to show you the hands up feature. Really useful for when there's possibly somebody who wants to ask a question but perhaps doesn't want to interrupt somebody that's speaking. So as you can see here, clearly Antoine's just put his hand up. Antoine, any questions?
No, just wanted to show you the hands up feature. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, that's a few bits for today. Obviously, next time we'll be looking more at SharePoint itself, moving away from Teams slightly, and we'll be covering some of the other applications like Microsoft Forms and Planner. Before I hand back to you, Antoine, are there any sort of questions that have come in that might be worth answering?
Thanks. Just wanted to say thank you very much for your demonstrations. Really great as usual. So I got some pointers out of there again. So thanks. It's just free lessons for me. Yeah, we had some questions, and of course, if anybody else would like to add questions, the Q&A is still there. So please do so, and we'll get back to you after the webinar. But from the survey we sent out, we've got a couple of really pertinent questions I think you might like. The first one, how do I know whether to use Teams or SharePoint? Which I think is a really valid question.
Yeah, of course. No, that's a really good question. So SharePoint for me is I mean, generally, people talk about life cycles of documents. People might start off in OneDrive or on their desktop even, but preferably OneDrive, so at least it's secure in the cloud. And then when it's ready to be shared, either to the whole organization, then that's when it really would get published in SharePoint. But if you're going to be working on a document with other people, then that's kind of where Teams is for. Teams is for collaborating. SharePoint is for kind of those documents that perhaps you're producing on your own, but then need to be shared within the organization. Obviously, every time you want to co-author a document, you might not have a specific team for that. People are generally setting up teams for, projects and things like that. So you can actually collaborate just within the chat area as well. So if I just quickly just share my screen very quickly, and we go back into chat. If I was to just pull up a chat with Antoine here, you can see the files section, and these are just files that we've shared throughout our chat, which again, we can open up any of these files here and work on them just within our chat, so they don't actually have to be within a team. So Teams, if you're ever working on a collaborative document, you can either work, if it's a big project, great, set up a team, and just like the demo, you can see the file section and the various channels. If it's just a one-off and you've only need input from one person, then by all means do it in the chat. Definitely.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks very much for that. Second question I have for you, if I may, Andrew. Can I add people to a team at a later date and or remove them from a team at any point at all?
Yeah, no, another good question. I'll share my screen once more quickly. So again, if we go into Teams, if I take this team here, so projects are often run in phases, or if you've got an internal team like our 3C team here, people may join the organization at a later date or leave the organization. And so in order to do that, you yourself can leave the team at any time, or you can add members. In terms of removing people, you would need to be the owner of the team. So if I went into my manager team here, because I'm an owner here along with Colin, then obviously you can see the members and guests, and I can remove them at any time, or they can remove themselves. But anyone can request to add a member there, and again, you just simply start typing their name, and you can add them at any time. So it's really useful, again, if you were working on a big project and perhaps you were only working on that first section of a project, you think, right, I've done my bit, I don't need to be a part of that team anymore, I can leave. And then the owner of that team may bring a second resource in for that second part of the project, and they can add them in at that point as well. So yeah, it's a good question.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Yeah, no problem at all.
We'll see you very soon on the next session.
Yeah. Perfect. Cheers. Thanks, Antoine.
Well, thank you again, Andrew. Really great. Really can show how somebody with the knowledge can really empower any organization to get the most out of their technology. So thank you again for turning up and watching our webinar on Microsoft 365, collaborating effectively. As I said, we'll get back to you with the answers from the Q&A, and we hope to see you on our next session of Essential Guides. All the best and have a great day.